Hey Joe, thanks for getting this in, and thanks for getting it in on time. I really appreciate that. And so the exposures themselves look pretty good, but there's two things going on in the way that you submitted your assignment that I'd like to deal with just here at the beginning of class, so that we'll get it all nipped in the bud. One thing that you did do that's awesome is you labeled your images with your exposure settings. Thank you so much for doing that. And in this assignment, though I didn't explicitly say this, and I need to remember to explicitly say this next time I teach this class, I really like on the contact sheets to know which ones are incident and which ones are reflective. Because I can't tell by your contact sheets what's what. There's a lot of notes here. When I see did not fire, I'm assuming that's flash, right? I don't know. But anyways, the other thing that's going on here is your file is visually pixelated, which means the file size is too small. So I don't know how you're outputting your PDFs, but make sure when you output them that, one, you're using Adobe Acrobat Pro, because that's really the only reliable way to make a PDF. There's a lot of other ways to do it, but they just don't work as well. And then also, at every opportunity, when you have a priority setting to choose, make sure that you choose the highest output quality. We're not really too concerned with how big our file sizes are in this class because we want the instructor, the professor, me, Mick, to be able to really look at your images and scrutinize it. And right now they're too pixelated for me to really scrutinize. And I'm sure at home you have a really high quality, beautiful image to look at, but unfortunately I have a very pixelated one. And when I blow it up to my full monitor size, and mind you I have a very big monitor and I like to blow them up to full monitor size, it's just super pixelated and I can't evaluate it. So when you output your PDFs, make sure that you choose the largest monitor size output and the highest quality. Okay? Okay. So, in the future, don't give me pixelated work. Make sure that you open up your PDF before you submit it. Make sure that it views really nicely. And then if you're working on a small monitor, be aware that I am not. I am working on a big monitor and I like to really look at big images. Because I spend so much of my day doing it, I might as well enjoy it, so I make them real big. Enough about that. But anyways, so other than that, these look pretty good. And then you had the experience that we would expect you to have in this assignment. We would expect that you would find that the incident meter readings give you better exposures in the landscape. The reason being because, of course, in reflective mode, your meter or your camera, both of them, are giving you exposure setting suggestions, or giving you exposure value suggestions that would yield a medium gray out of whatever you're pointing it at. And in this case, you're probably pointing it at the water. And that's brighter than medium gray. And so we would expect your exposure settings to yield an underexposed image, which is what you got. That's right. Even if you're pointing it at the foliage, it's a little bit darker in this case. The local value of this foliage is a little bit darker than medium gray. I mean brighter, sorry. A little bit brighter than medium gray. And so again, you would have an underexposed image. And then in an incident mode, this is not underexposed. This is a great exposure. I'm just kind of stuck on this. Let me go down to a different image. Here's a good example. This is a little bit underexposed. And so in this case, you're either pointing your meter at the water or maybe a lighter part of the foliage here, and so you ended up, it was saying, oh, that's actually pretty bright, so we don't need very much exposure value to get a good exposure here, and so it's underexposed. Does that make sense? Okay. And then a little bit, one other thing that I saw that I can give you some feedback on is right here, and, oops, well, more so right here, we're seeing a little bit of a vignette. And so this is a result of something being in front of your lens. I don't know if it's your lens hood, or your finger, or your strap, or I don't know, it could be any number of things. But you want to make sure when you're looking through your viewfinder, unless you really want it for some aesthetic reason, that you don't see any of this. I know on one of my lenses, I think it's my 18 to 70 zoom, that it just came as a kit with my camera body. And it's not my favorite lens in the world, and a lot of it is because at certain focal lengths, I actually can see my lens hood. And when I'm shooting outside, I usually want to use my lens hood so I reduce glare. I can see my lens hood in the image, and I hate that. It'd be one thing if, if I could see it on both sides, like all four sides, and so it made like a somewhat pleasant aesthetic vignette. But no, I only ever see it on one side or the other, just like we're seeing it here, so it's really awkward. So watch for that, because that's just kind of bad technique. And I know in this case, for this assignment, that you're really focused on learning how to use your light meter, and this was the last thing on your mind, right? I know that. That's okay. But just, watch for it in the future, because on our way to becoming a pro, this is the kind of stuff that we can't get away with clients. Okay, so beyond that, well, good job getting all 40 images. Perfect. And then you gave me exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 finals. Perfect. I really like to see people edit themselves according to instructions on assignments, because I am essentially the client, and I say, I want 40 images on the contact sheets, and I want 4 best images, and I want you to tell me what the best images are, because I am too busy to make that decision for you, right? That's what the client would say, and you followed instructions there perfectly. Great. Thank you, Joe. This was well done, other than just make sure your PDF output's at a very high quality so we can see an unpixelated image. And other than that, great. And I will see you in the next assignment.